Hey everybody, it's Lex from PDQ.com. Today, regular expressions. If you're wondering how big of a nerd I am, after today's webcast, there will be no question that I was assembled from the parts of lesser geeks to be the nerd you see before you today. Let's jump in. All right, regular expressions. You know, smile, frown. Those are the regular emotions I like to see on people. Regular expressions are a way to, find patterns, find words, those kind of things. And again, with regular expressions, for me and everybody, we were talking a little bit earlier in the pre-show, it's like it takes me some time to get into it, then I can do it, and then when I'm out of it, I don't do it for a while, I forget what I've done. So the best way for me is I've got a cheat sheet, and I love this one from Dave Child. This is out on the internet. You can go search for regular expression cheat sheets. Let me just put that in the center for you.
I was about to ask. Thanks.
Kind of, what was that, JJ?
I was about to ask for you to center that.
So anchors, character classes. Now I'm going to go over the basics on this. We don't have time to go over everything on the cheat sheet, but I'll cover a lot so that we can use use it in the real world. So I'm going to minimize that. So of course, my other favorite place to go when I do this is regex101.com, because I can test it, make sure I'm getting what I need, and then I can transfer it into inventory or SQL or in this case some PowerShell stuff. I have pre-built a really cool, you'll notice the scroll button master here, a bunch of different things that we can search. Okay, again, regular expression. I can look up Adobe and, well, there it is. I had to scroll down for you guys to see it. That's pretty straightforward. It's really not all that exciting, and to be honest with you, it's not overly useful at this point. So let's go through and we'll talk about some qualifiers, some boundaries, character classes, and groups so that we can actually use and find patterns. So the first one I want to cover is the boundary, okay? And that's a \B. Now you notice when I did that, boundaries, it's looking for beginnings and endings of words, okay? And the nice thing is, right up top there, you see how it says word. We're going to look for the word. And you found that boundary, it starts with a boundary. There's the word it found. Starts with a boundary, there's word. Starts with a boundary, there's word. Now, the opposite of that, and the nice thing is this pattern follows pretty much with all of the different types of boundaries and character classes, is the capital B. So find me any of the word that doesn't have a beginning boundary. So it's the anti-boundary, I guess. And of course, you can mix and match those. Find me one that starts with a word, the boundary with word, and then one that does not end with it, and there we go. So again, just kind of bringing you up to speed. We're going to talk about a few other things so that we can build something useful. So those are boundaries. Let's also talk about character classes. Now, things you're going to be finding a lot of. /s is a space. So this found all the spaces. JJ, I'm going to shrink this just a little bit because it's a little hard to find and see everything. Hopefully that's still readable.
It just took it out of mobile mode. That's fine.
Just took it out of mobile mode. So it found all the spaces, and again, a capital S would find the not spaces. And I found all the characters, anything that's not a space, which is great. Digits, numbers, again, D, digit, any kind of number it found, which is great. I mean, I found all the digits, but let's go find a pattern. In this case, I used phone numbers, okay? So to find these, you'll notice it's 3 period or a dash 3. So we can go digit. Now a period's a special character, so if you're gonna do a period, you gotta put a backslash in front of it, okay? And then D, another period, and then some more D's.
So
thank goodness D's are easy to type. Yeah, go ahead.
You can just do like a D plus and then the backslash period, and it would find all digits up to.
Absolutely, I love it. You're thinking like this is not efficient, and I agree, it's not. It's a good example. I'm going to show you how to do that. But the other thing, notice this. I didn't find this 800 number, which is probably good because it's a pay number, I'm sure. But I want to get that period or that dash in there. And to do that, and we'll talk more about ranges, but to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to use not that, you're going to backspace, a square bracket. We'll put a period and a dash in there, another square bracket, and then I need to get rid of that guy. And you'll notice, well, it didn't find the dash. Well, this one's also looking for just a period right here. So let's go put that range in right there, period, dash. And now I found all of those. Now back to what Jordan was saying. Well, that's kind of cool. That's a lot of D's. Isn't there a better way to do it, an easier way? Yes, there is. And that would be a qualifier. So you'll notice they end, and forgive me, international viewers, we're just using U.S. numbers in this case because it's what I can think of. We're going to go in and say, you know what? I want 4 digits. I'm going to use a curly bracket with the number 4, and we can find those. Again, we'll do the same thing here. Curly bracket, number 3. Again, we're finding what we're looking for, and it's a lot more, I would say, efficient to do it this way. And there we go.
Lex, that's not your phone number, is it?
8675309. That's the one I should have used.
No,
but Jenny called me and said, please don't put it in. So,
that third one at the bottom.
no, that's not.
Okay.
I made that up, man.
All right.
I don't live in Colorado. I know it's a Colorado number.
I just saw a Colorado number. I'm like,
Why would I put my phone number up for people to call? That first one is PDQ, though.
Just an error of judgment.
I've made
just
many.
so you know, there might be.
I have made many errors in judgment.
There might be 1,000 people watching this over.
Why would someone type in their password in the chat?
Can you show me, just put your social in there and show me how regex can find, the pattern for a social security
How about
number?
I put my address, my birthday, and my social?
Perfect.
You guys.
I may call that number later and apologize.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for trying to derail my regex train. Do we have any questions that we might want to pop up right now before I move on?
Dear Lex, hard and tricky question. The best regular expression to handle email addresses. Sincerely, Max C.
Oh, man. Max, thank you for the segue. We're going to talk about grouping, and we're going to look at email addresses. So let's just do this. All right, so now you know how to find phone numbers. JJ's phone number is coming up next.
Oh, boy.
Just kidding. All right, grouping. Let's talk about grouping. All right, emails. Let's find email addresses. We're going to use ranges and we're going to use grouping. Okay. First thing every email address has is that @ sign. Wow. Found it. Doesn't do me a whole lot of good at this point.
Done.
Done. There you go. That's how you do it. Let's look at the @whatever.com, .net, .org. You know what I mean? Let's find the back end, then we'll find the front end. Now, with the range, which is that, again, the bracket there, I can go in and say, look, give me any letter A through Z, lowercase. Is it possible for uppercase letters? Yes, so we can do capital A through Z. Is it possible for numbers to be in that? Probably. So we can do a 0 through 9. Now, you'll notice I did this, and I'm only getting that @ in the first letter. Why is that?
Because you're not telling it to continue on.
That is right. And to get it to continue on, I'm going to add a plus. There we go. It found that right up to the period because period is not in that range. Now, a couple of ways to go about that. I can add that period with a slash period. Can I add that period in the range? I can. When it's in a range, you don't have to put the slash on there. And now look, I've got everything, all the .com, well, I didn't get swars.net for William Nimoy. But let's add the last bit of this too. I'm going to show you how to do a group.
Did you pronounce that Nimoy?
Did I say it wrong?
He sure did.
No, I love it. No, you just keep going with it.
I hate you guys. All right. I'm going to put that period out here. Why? Because I want to. Okay, plus. And now I broke it.
So,
Plus, and then a period.
Basically, regex is hard enough without people derailing your train of thought.
Exactly. You guys are just awful. All right, let's go after that .com. Now, we're going to do a group. And I know what you guys are going to think. So, a group would be a parentheses. So we're going to look for .com. Now, the pipe, that vertical, is an or. We're looking for net. We'll look for org. And then we'll close it up. And there we go. Check that out. So now I'm finding @pdq.com. I'm still not getting that .net. And here's why, guys. You see that minus, that dash? It's not part of my range. It's not. So I'm going to add that. There we go. Add that in. Now the dash needs to make sure if you're putting it in your range, it needs to be at the end. Okay. Again, let's say I want to put that period in there. If I put that period at the end of this, it's kind of going to break this. I don't need that. There we go. It's going to break it. So that period, that dash needs to be at the end. Otherwise, it's going to try and evaluate that dash. And then, sorry, I need to put my plus back. There we go. All right, so we found everything with our period, with our dash. Excellent. Let's go find the front emails. And these, again, this is just as simple as the back end there, which is, let's do a range A through Z, and A through Z, and 0 through 9. And we'll close that bracket. And again, I'm only evaluating that letter right before the at, so we put a plus in there. And again, once again, check it out. I've got periods that I'm not picking up and dashes. So again, put those in your range, the period, the dash. Now you are getting emails. What if Leonard Shatner at ITT.org is now in ITT.biz?
What's the tax implications?
Yeah, exactly. What is the tax implications here? Again, I can go add it here, but I really don't want to maintain that. So let's just use another range on this end and say it can be any letters, capital or lowercase, any numbers, and then call it right there. Now, is it possible to have multiple periods in one of those? Probably, someone.org.au or whatever, so you can actually add a period in there.
You're also missing aliases, special characters. Don't actually use this to test email addresses. There are better ways to do it.
There are better ways, but I'm teaching ranges, I'm teaching grouping, and at least I am showing.
I just want
how
to make
do
sure
that.
those that are watching don't take this as
The end all
email
and be all of it?
validation gospel. Yeah.
Again, guys, there are 1,000 different variations, so make sure your testing is good. This is not gospel on email, but it is a good way to teach ranges and grouping.
If they're looking for emails that are within their own control, they probably have very specific rules they're aware of, and they can fine-tune it from there. But if you're looking for any possible email, there's a lot of variables into that you're just going to have to try to account for.
Absolutely. So again, here's a good start for you. Do a little more research. I bet you can find one online that's better than the one I just did. But hopefully you picked up how to do ranges and groups. Do we want to take any questions from here, or should I keep rolling?
Dear Lex, what regex standard are we following? Marcel L.
All right, so
That sounds like a question from someone who's very familiar with regex.
yeah, thank you, Marcel. I'm just using PCRE. That's the closest to what it is in inventory. I also put flags on here, global and multi-line and case insensitive, which is very similar to what we use for inventory. So I try to do that to make sure that, I'm giving you good data that you can copy and paste into inventory.
I noticed that this website calls them flavors. Is that the technical term?
I don't know. You put a little salt on it, maybe. Why would you ask a question like that, JJ? Why would you do that?
I don't know. I just saw it on the website.
Yeah, there are a lot of flavors. Java, that. Again, syntax is pretty close, maybe a little different. But. All right, let's talk about assertions next, and then we're going to put it all together and do some cool stuff. So an assertion, that would be a look ahead, look behind, searching for stuff. So I'm going to start out, I'm going to look for the letter D. That's pretty cool.
Nailed it.
I know, one of the few things I can type and not mess up. But what I want to do is I want to find all the D's that have a letter A after them. So that would be a look ahead. To do a look ahead, parentheses, question mark, an equal sign, and then your letter A, close it off, and there you go. I found a D with an A after it. If I scroll through here, D with an A after it, D with an A after it.
So could a look ahead contain a grouping as well?
Absolutely, and we're going to get to that. Let's just cover how these work very simply because it's easy to explain this way. Now let's do a look behind. So I want to find all the D's that have a letter A in front of them. Okay. So the look behind, you put this little arrow there and say look behind. So now you'll see, reader, there's an A in front of Adobe DC. Oh, did you notice that? There's an A in front of it qualifies. When it's gone, it doesn't. Okay, Adobe, reader. All right, again, super simplified, but it's easy to understand when we do it this way. Now let's talk about negative look aheads and look behind. So let's go and find a D that does not have an A following it. To do that, you're going to put a bang or a exclamation point. I call it a bang. Linux guy forever.
That's how you know when you've been using Linux or something like that for a long time, when you forget that it's called an exclamation point.
I had to think about that. But now you'll notice I found all the D's that don't have A's after them. So this PDQ right here, if I put an A there, no longer qualifies. Love that. Okay. Now, a look behind, let's find all the D's that don't have an A in front of it. And this one, we're just going to go and put that arrow there. Now there is, Jordan has an A after but not in front of it, but if we Jorandin like that, oops, there's a Q. Now it doesn't qualify.
That is actually a known alias for me.
Is it?
No.
I just like the fact that you're at AOL.com.
I'm always up to date on the latest technology.
Latest tech. Okay, so once again, look ahead. Here's the D. Give me the stuff that's after it. Look behind. Here's the D. Give me the stuff before it. Negative, look ahead. Find me a D and make sure there's not this after it. Negative, or that was a look ahead. Negative, look behind. Find me a D that doesn't have something in front of it. All right, how does all this come into play when it comes to the rest of what you're going to do? Well, let's make this reasonably something that, check it out. All my Visual C++. Okay, I want to find all the Visual C++ that is a version of 2010 or better, so 2010, 2012, etc., and is 64-bit. Okay. Now, because if I were to type this out, you guys would be here all day. I'm going to copy this part of it, copy and paste that. Now, plus is a special character, so let's escape out on those. And then I need to make sure that I want to grab the entire line, so I'm going to put a dot. And if you hover over this, nicely it tells you, matches any character, and the splat, which is between 0 and unlimited, so it grabs the entire line. All right, so I've got that figured out. Now, let's narrow this down to anything 2010 or better. So at this point, we're going to go in here and we're going to add a grouping. Okay, 920. Once again, spelling is important in life. It's especially important in regular expressions because
one typo in regex and it doesn't even mean close to the same thing.
Yeah, it pretty much gives you the finger. All right, so originally I said 201, but what happens when 2020 comes? So we're going to do the 20 group. Okay, we'll add that dot after that, or excuse me. And then we need to add, let's do our range here. So 2010, that's a range from 1 to 9. And then we'll add another range to it, which would be a 0 through 9. So now when 2020 hits, I don't have to rewrite this thing. I believe I need to put a dot right there, or a plus. Oh man, I am like the Mad Bomber now. I'm deleting stuff that I need. Dude, am I in insert mode?
So what it looks like is, I guess, regex is basically a bunch of what are actually pretty simple rules that you can string together in very complex ways.
Absolutely.
That seems like one of the biggest struggles you could ever have is doing regular expressions in insert mode.
In insert mode.
That is the ultimate hard mode in any form of
when you want to make
computer science.
Life just a bit more difficult.
Anytime you want to make life difficult, do regular expressions.
I think Colby's about to drop some knowledge.
Drop it, baby.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, you just got what I was going to say.
Like I said, one misplaced something and everything just goes to hell.
It wasn't on camera, but Colby knew the answer about 45 seconds ago.
He was getting really antsy.
Dropped a
Just
Colby
waiting for
You know,
bomb.
he's just going to walk up here and shove me. Get out the way. Let me do this right quick.
He had enough trust in you to just wait and see what you did.
Colby knows regex better than he does regular expressions.
Oh, that's good. Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna calm my nerves here. All right, so now we found everything 2010 or better. Let's go and find the 64. Now, you'll notice here we got 2010 x64 redistributable, and we got 22 redistributable x64. So I want to look at anything past this and go find that x64. Boom. And again, if you are as bad a typist as I am, boom, boom, boom. It's going to take you a long time to do regex, guys. But there we go. All right, that's a string. Instead of me having to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a number of things to get what I want, there is one regex string that I painfully figured out finally to get, the Visual C++ that I'm looking for, 2010 or greater and 64-bit. So again, I can copy this, put it in a report, boom, and get my report of anything greater than that. You want to do a question before I fumble through the next? All right. Now, here's another one, and you guys, this seems to be really popular because I talk to customers like, hey, I want to whitelist software, and I want to be able to get a report of people who have software that doesn't conform to the whitelist. We've done many different versions and ways to do this. I'm going to take you through how to do this. One of the ways to do this using regular expressions. To do this, let's talk about anchors, right? So a caret means the beginning of a line. And let's say 7-zip is legit software we want on machines. So the beginning of the line, go ahead and find me a 7-zip zoip. Okay, and then of course I want to get the entire line, and the end of the line marker is $. So anchor, end of the string, and we found 7-zip, which is, kind of cool. But I want to find more, right? To do this, we're going to do a grouping. So again, let's put the group on this guy right here. And we'll say it's okay to have 7-zip. We're going to put the pipe, because pipe's the or Adobe, there we go. And let's say Apple. No, we don't want Apple products on our stuff. We'll say, oh, did you see that? I did that backslash. Going to mess everything up, guys. Once again, pipe. Let's do auto hotkey. And we'll say, no, Dropbox. So now this is great. It highlights all the things that are appropriate, right? Where did Dropbox go? Did I spell that right? No, see that right there, guys? That backslash needs to be a pipe. I've been doing that consistently all day. But now you'll see there's Dropbox. So this is great for the software that I want, but I want a report of everything but these. Now back to those assertions, we can pop that negative look ahead in here. Question mark, pipe, and you'll notice everything else that is not 7-zip, Adobe, AutoHotkey, or Dropbox is now highlighted. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to go build our quick report. And I know what you're thinking. I'm like, that's not bad. It's better than having to do a bunch of lines in a report for filters. But of course, I'm going to show you how to do this, and then I'm going to tell you, guess what? Colby's got a better way through PowerShell. So report, we'll build a new report, basic report. I want computers. I want applications. I'm going to add that filter here, application name, and I'm going to go say matches regular expression. Okay, since I'm negating it, you could do does not match regular expression and just put the ones in that are whitelisted, but because I put that negative look ahead, there it is. We'll call this bad computers. All right, and then we're going to run this against every machine out there, and we should see computers that have stuff other than 7-zip and everything else. So all right, VMware Tools is okay. Let's go add that. Now to add that, I'm going to copy it, Control-C, and I'm going to go paste that back into right here. Got to remember to put my pipe in there, paste the VMware Tools in there, run this again. Now VMware Tools is gone. And then what you can do, my personal favorite, is you group by the computer and see who the worst offender is. In this case, it would be Alan Rails. Has got all this stuff that is not on our whitelist. All right. That's one way to do it, okay? There is a PowerShell way to do it. I'm going to show you at the end of this. That creates basically it dynamically creates that list for your machines. You just have to add them differently. So there's our bad comps. Now let's talk about PowerShell real quick and uses in PowerShell. So close this. I'm going to bring up my PowerShell. Nope, that's not it. I like that, but that's not the one I wanted. We're going to go run some PowerShell. PowerShell, there we go. And of course I didn't center this. Looking good. All right,
Good
so
enough.
Q user. Okay, that right there is going to pull the current user on a machine. Now this is kind of good information, but it would be better if we formatted it, and we're going to use PowerShell and regex to format that. I have built, and by this saying I have built, I copied some PowerShell that Jordan gave me. Here it is, Control C. Let's go put it back over here, and let's just discuss it. So this, I'm going to run QUser and run it into a name variable. You're going to have a regex variable that takes that name variable and it looks at each object in there. And the way it looks at the object, it looks for anything with a space and replaces it with a question mark. And then it converts it to a CSV. And if we run that, you'll notice that is now much easier to view and see. Okay.
Kind of. The reason we need this is since we're running a command line tool, it's not sending back an object, it's sending back just a wall of text, which is why PowerShell has a hard time parsing what's in there just because there's no object within there. So what we're doing is we're taking the text and we're making it and outputting it in a way that it becomes an object.
Absolutely. So now I've got that tool. I go to Tools. Okay. There's my user tool. I run that against Allen Rails and check it. As soon as this returns, I'm going to have some actual usable information of who is logged on to Allen Rails right now. Quintana's logged on. It's an RDP session. It's active. And it's been idle for...
Hopefully not at all, because you're currently in it.
Well, yeah, there I am. At any rate, yeah, I had to open that up. So that's a real word. I mean, now I can, anytime I need to know who's on a machine, highlight the machine. And in this case, I think I hit, what was my keystroke on that bad boy?
So this
Control
came in
Shift
from a user that was watching our video. We have a GitHub for the PowerShell scanner that will go through and find logged on users users that have logged on, but you have to mess with the logging. And in the comments down that video, there's someone that couldn't do the logging, so they're using QUser. And so if you have a lab environment where there's a potential of a lot more people have been logged in, this will go through and will give you a better idea without having to modify the logging.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, in the vein of PowerShell, we, and again, when I say we, Jordan, yesterday, built me a PowerShell scanner. Originally, we did this with PowerShell and did some gyrations and wrote a registry key. But since we got the PowerShell scanner, why not do it here? This basically goes out and runs the SLVBS. It pulls what type, OEM, KMS, so on and so forth, the licensing type, so if you got to do audits. And again, we use regex to go through here and look for KMS client, MAK, OEM. Okay, and then it returns it when it gets matched. So nice thing about this guy, it runs fairly quick. I'm going to right click and we'll just say scan with our new PS license type. It's going to go run and return some data. While that's running, I'm going to build a new dynamic collection. Okay, we're going to call this license type. TYPE. Yeah, I did no space on purpose. We'll go to that table we just built. Center it. Let me grab it first. Now, so you can all see what I'm doing, I'll put it in the center. Okay, pulls the license type which contains, and guys, I've done this before, we use KMS, so let's go find all the license types that are KMS, and we'll give that an OK. And now we should get here when this updates, there we go. Let's just go look at Allen Rails. Boom, KMS client. So it's an easy way to tell that, and that was using regex to go and find that in the list of data that was pumped out from that PowerShell.
We can't really showcase that it grabs the other types, the OEM, because we don't have that in our environment, but it will go through the 3 major types, and you can create a collection for each one of those. This isn't in the GitHub repository yet, because when I wrote it, there was no PowerShell scanner, and we were doing stuff with registry instead of just that, but that probably should be put up there pretty quick, I think.
Absolutely. Another thing that regex you can do pretty easy on the fly is this. I'm going to build another dynamic collection. We're going to call it iBrowsers. Eyebrows. All right. Browsers. Yeah, close enough. What, Colby? Like, all right, I'll put the W in. iBrowsers.
Browsers before hosers.
All right, we'll just call it browsers because iBrowsers seems really bad. So we're going to look for any application. Now, you could do this and group and this and group and this and group, like this application contains Chrome, right? And then if you wanted Chrome, you would need to go and add another group and another filter, and then this group needs to go up. And you can see how this is becoming more complicated. It can be done, but it's easier just to do it like this, guys. I'm going to delete that. Application contains, we'll go in here and say matches expression, and then we're going to do that group, right? So it can be Chrome, it can be Firefox, or it can be Edge. Okay. Run this bad boy, and now I've got browsers in a machine that has this or this or this, any of those, and that's one line, significantly easier. And again, let's just look at Allen Rails. Boom. Application, it does have Chrome. Does it have Chrome? There's Firefox. It has any of those. Firefox or Chrome or whatever. Has them all. Has any of them. So, any questions before I show you guys Colby's really cool build it on the fly white list for you?
And our final question that we have queued up, unless you have additional questions, feel free to submit them. Dear Lex, what is your favorite regex constructing tool? Regexr or something else? Thanks. Celine.
Regex constructing tool, I just got to go with.
The one we've been showing the whole time.
Yeah, Regex 101. I use it. It's easy. I don't have to load anything. Boom. It's right there. I just got to load up some data, some test data, and there you go.
That website has shown me thousands of ways to not correctly use regex.
It's shown me how many millions of ways I do it wrong. So, okay, let's just pop up Colby's. And Jordan, that's not Colby's. That was mine, by the way. So here we go. We got a property list, interface alias IP, prefix origin, filter list. These are the things you're looking for. Okay, this would right here would be your whitelist list of software, and then this right here basically builds that nice regex filter list joins with those pipes. This or this or this or this or this.
Yep. So it's building an array, and then at the end, it just is basically saying join those with the pipe. So it builds the same thing with the or statement. It's easier to modify because the array is in a bit of ordered list.
If you noticed how many times I did a backslash instead of a pipe,
Yeah. So
this takes care of that.
So it does the same thing. It might take a little bit more space, but it makes it much easier to control if something changes.
Absolutely. Makes the find a lot easier. And again, the way I did it works, but you get this really super long string that eventually goes off screen that way. Yeah. Colby, anything you want to say about your regex on the fly?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
So once again, I showed you a way to do it, and Colby has proven there is a better way to do it. The Colby way to do it. So that's okay. Just basics today on regex, guys. Again, boundaries, character classes, groups, ranges. Okay, those your basic. That's the meat and potatoes of regex to find patterns. Love it, live it, breathe it, and in 10 seconds I'm going to forget it, and I'll have to go look at the cheat sheet again. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Lex from PDQ.com.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Max C. and Marcel L., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll see you back here next week.